Today's video, we're going to talk about why is Google charging me more per click than what Google Keyword Planner says. So a lot of you guys hear it all the time at my firm or just in the comment section on this channel. Google Keyword Planner is basically saying the most on the high end, I should be paying $8 per click, and I'm paying $25. Why the hell is that? And I'm going to explain why the hell that is on this particular video. There's three main key reasons why you would actually be charged more than what Google says you'll be charged in Google Keyword Planner on the high estimate versus the low estimate itself. Generally speaking, your cost per click is actually going to be in the low to high range, okay? However, if you meet one of these three kind of things here, obviously you could fall outside that window, and you shouldn't necessarily panic. A lot of people get really pissed off at Google. They say, I don't want to do Google anymore because they're charging me more per click. At the end of the day, cost per click, as I mentioned many times on this channel, is a vanity metric nowadays. It doesn't really matter, particularly with the Google smart bidding systems Google has and the auction and how it's set up now, which basically they know more about who is a customer than the people know about themselves, essentially. They study all the people coming through their search engine. They've studied everybody who searched for your keywords in your market for the last 20 years before you even stepped up to the plate to advertise on Google. They pretty much know who's a likely buyer, who's not, based upon how old they are, where they're from, what language they speak, on and on and on and on. Thousands of different levels they analyze their users on. And they basically understand by looking at all the other advertisers who've ever advertised, who buys, who doesn't, what they're tracking, them understanding that people not going back to Google were satisfied, and what traits those people have versus people who did go back to Google to click on something else, indicating that they didn't buy anything, or at least right away. This tells you, if you're Google, who's a likely buyer, or at least they could score it. They could say, or 89% likely to buy, this one's 83 or whatever. So to make more money, Google's never going to come out on the losing end of things, right? That I can admit. If they can figure out who's a buyer and who's not a buyer, how are they going to decide who to send the customers to? They're just going to send the good customers to somebody because you're a nice guy? No, they're going to send it to the guy they either want to encourage to stay around because you're helping their users a lot, or they can sell that customer for more money than what they were selling it before. And therefore, they're going to up the price, if you will. So if they know somebody's 4 times as likely to convert into a customer than somebody else, they're going to adjust the price for that customer. This has actually been discussed in the Google antitrust materials, where if you review what the DOJ was saying, you could read into price fixing and some other stuff. The main thing is, you shouldn't care about cost per click because Google's system's set up, long story short, to price a particular person who has a particular value at a certain price what they're worth, and a cost per click on a keyword saying I don't want to pay XYZ per click is irrelevant, because you could pay a low cost per click. You're just then going to get a person who's less likely that's turned into a customer, and you don't gain anything at the end of the day when you do that. So that's going to be the main thing that I'm going to talk about more on this video here today, but there is some other stuff to consider why you're paying so an astronomically high amount to get a click. And manual bidding isn't necessarily the answer like a lot of people are thinking. When they use smart bidding, their cost per click is higher, and they go to manual bidding. Manual bidding is just going to get you a lesser quality user, and you're not going to gain anything at the end of the day. So, and I know that because I've run hundreds and hundreds of Google Ads accounts, and I've been doing it for the last 20 years since it came out. So with that said, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability up front, generally speaking in excess of what the management fee is, which should tell you something about the quality of the information you're receiving on today's video. So with that said, getting into the content here, the 3 main reasons why you could be paying not just what the high estimate is on the Google Keyword Planner for a click on that keyword, but 2, 3, 4 times as much, because the main one being smart bidding. Okay, I was just touching about this earlier in the video. So the smart bidding algorithm, what you're saying with Google is to say, I'm willing to get and pay for a customer for $60 each if you're using, let's say, maximize conversions bidding strategy. Google's algorithm is going to say, okay, that's what you want. That's what we'll get you. And we'll try to offer you as many conversions at $60 as we can get. Somebody that comes through who is rated less likely than average to turn into a customer, they're going to charge you less per click for that person because they know they're less likely to turn into a customer. Nobody else wants that customer, then they'll let you have that customer because ultimately, if you bid lower, you're going to be you're less likely to show because Google's system is still set up like an auction system. Whoever bids the most, technically, not considering how good your ad and landing page is set up, the less likely you are the ad to show. So what they'll do if they see somebody that's less likely to turn into a customer come through, at least for you, because each person's going to handle traffic differently, your pricing structure, your website will dictate if somebody is highly likely to convert for you or not likely to convert for you. And if they're less likely to convert, the Google smart bidding system, as you want it to, is going to say it's worth paying not $4 a click, but $2 a click for this person. Does anybody else want this person for $2? No? Okay, we're going to give it to you. You're going to pay $2. They're less likely than average to convert, but they might. And as a whole, if they do this to all the people that are less likely to convert, then you're going to still end up getting conversions at the cost per conversion you want. The same thing if they're more likely than average to convert. There are some users that are so likely to convert that they can charge you 4 times as much as a click than what the high range of the cost per click system is mentioned. But that person has, let's say, 15 different traits that match up with your typical customer that typically goes through your store or through your business. And they see that and they're going to charge you more because they know that person's almost for sure going to convert. So they're going to charge you more for it. And yes, they could actually ultimately charge you less than what you would say for a customer, you'd pay for a customer. But why would you do that? Why would they charge you less for a customer than what you said you would pay? They're going to charge you more so they can make up for it, and they're going to try to make more money on their side. But the main thing is it's going to be offset by them charging you less per click for somebody who's less likely to convert. At the end of the day, you're still going to get the conversions you want at the cost per conversion you want. If you switch over to manual bidding, ultimately with everybody else using smart bidding and the smart bidding system working for them, which says, okay, this person's more likely to convert, we're going to charge you more for this customer, but you get them versus you just bidding a lower amount, you're ultimately with manual bidding and wanting to bid a lower amount because smart bidding is jacking up your cost per click. All you're doing is getting a lesser quality person that's less likely to convert. Okay, so there's no free lunch with manual bidding. Okay, I don't care how good you are at keeping a rein on your cost per click or anything like that. To summarize this, the less you pay per click, the less quality users you're going to get because the smart bidding system is going to charge more for the person more likely to convert. You could say, I will not pay any more than $4 a click, I don't care what. And then ultimately all you're going to do, some of it will convert, but you'll end up with less conversions by far, even though your cost per conversion might be a little bit lower. But that's not how to make the most money with Google Ads. The way to make most money with Google Ads is finding a cost per conversion that's reasonable and then trying to get as many as possible. And you will only do that if you use the smart bidding system and use what the smart bidding system does for you, which is to identify what the likelihood of a person coming through for your keywords, coming through Google is likely to convert at, and then giving you the opportunity to pay more for that customer so you can outbid the other people in the market that you're up against for those same, showing up for those same keywords. Hopefully that makes sense how I'm trying to explain it. A lot of people just don't understand how this stuff works. They charge less for people less likely to convert. They charge more for people more likely to convert. Because people can be highly likely to convert, a cost per click can end up being hundreds of dollars per click because the rate in which they convert is 4 or 5 times, 10 times what the average user coming through. And they know that based upon the websites that person has visited before they made that search, who they are, how much money they have, and so forth. So that's the first and main reason why cost per clicks are way higher than the Google Keyword Planner. Google doesn't claim Google Keyword Planner is what you're going to pay. It's just an estimate. Keep that in mind. The second reason why Google's going to charge you way more is bad CTR and conversion rates will ensure that. So along with Google being a bidding system now, it's also a merit-based system. If you can actually have better click-through rates and better conversion rates than all of the other people you're going up against in the Google Ads system, the more likely you are to show for the people that are Googling your keywords, essentially, or searching for your keywords. The reason for that is because Google as a whole wants people to get a good experience. So they want to come back to Google and click on ads in the future again. So your job, if you want to for sure make a lot of money with Google Ads, is to not come with a half-ass approach with anything. You set up an ad and a landing page that's better than your competition by far, and Google's going to love it. They're going to give you every possible advantage as possible to encourage you to stick around as an advertiser. Low cost per click, give you a higher quality user, going back to like what we were saying before, because they're going to divvy them out to person who, yes, is going to be willing to pay the most, but also they want to encourage to stick around. So they're going to give you a better rate on those good people. We've had a situation, this has happened multiple times, where somebody's updated their website because some douchebag talked them into a website design that was a really slick salesman. They don't know how to make websites at all. And our client isn't a marketing person. So they don't understand a good website from a bad website. And they mainly judge a good website by how much it costs, if you will, or not completely, but you get what I mean. What people are inclined to do is if they invest in a website, or even after they start using it and the results are not there, in terms of conversion rates, they're inclined to double, triple down on their stupidity. Oh no, we have to use this website. I spent way too making this website, and I spent way too freaking much on this website. We're using it. It isn't until they have no choice not to be a freaking retard to roll back that website to the way that they had it before, well, they'll go back on it because they don't want to admit they got scammed. People that scam people know this. They know that they don't want to admit, people don't admit like getting scammed. So you can run scams very easily, selling to people that have a high ego because they're never going to admit they were scammed. They'll gladly accept the dog turd that you're selling them and have a smile on their face while they have it because they don't want to admit it. With that said, we would have a client who had a pool builder because I didn't have the authority to get them to believe me over the other douchebag that's selling them the stupid ass website that doesn't have any business selling websites to small business owners, because people, they say they know how to make websites. They don't know how to make websites that make money. And there's more people who can make websites than make websites that make money. At least when you're talking about websites for a few $1,000s, not hundreds of thousands, which at that level, you usually get pretty good quality of people that actually know what they're doing. You can get people who know what they're doing on a smaller level, but it's 1 in 10. You ultimately have to get lucky to find them, and you have to know what to look for. The cost per click started to drift up. The conversion rate wasn't what it was before. Naturally, when you switch websites, it's going to send the campaigns back into learning mode anyway, if it's a big enough change. But then with that, if the conversion rate's not as good as what it was before, your cost per click is going to drift up. This guy was paying $7, $8 a click. It was drifting up to 10, then 15, then 20, then 25, then 30, then 35, and all this while, I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, you have to switch the website back. Your campaigns are no longer making money, and you're wasting more and more money the longer you don't admit to yourself you got had, that this guy ripped you off, and you have to put it back the way that you were before because you're going to end up losing even more money than you already lost. Wait longer to admit this to yourself so that you could stand so tall with your ego and not deal with it. And so ultimately, eventually, cost per click gets up $30, $40 per click, whereas on the high end, it was supposed to only get around to $20 a click. At that time, the cost per clicks have went up since then. Eventually, they switched the website back. And then once you switch the website back, it's not like an instant fix. Then you have to retrain the algorithm that your website converts again. So slowly, the cost per click is going to go from 40 to 35. And so whereas it took 2 to 3 months before the client finally admitted that their website wasn't going to work, it took another 2-3 months to the cost per click back to where it was again. That all happened just because the conversion rate of the website wasn't there. Ultimately, if you don't know what a website that makes money and converts well looks like and how it works because you've made 50 websites before, you have no business going and hiring a cheap website design company because most of them are going to rip you off like that. Just to give you some honest advice. And you either got to pay a lot for a website or you got to know how to make a website if you're going to expect to get it cheap, because most of them are scams, like I said, like this guy got taken. And that's just the way that the market works. There's plenty of people that are gladly going to sell you a cat turd, polished up cat turd, if you'll take it. And do it with a big smile on their face and pretend like they've done this 10 million times. With that said, and getting back a bit off track here, your click-through rate and conversion rate will dictate if you get within that low to high range on Google Keyword Planner or not. Okay? And they can go way above 2, 3, 4 times what Google Keyword Planner is telling you the high-end estimate of your click cost should be if you have conversion rates that are lower than your average person advertising on Google Ads. And certainly when you're in the bottom end of that, like you're the bottom 1 or bottom 20%, like this guy had. Same thing with click-through rate. In fact, and click-through rate and conversion rate are actually just as bad as one another. You can totally tank your cost per click by doing either one, bottom 20% in terms of click-through rate or conversion rate. And it won't happen all at once. It'll happen once the system realizes over a few hundred clicks on that keyword that the click-through rate that you had before is not what it was. Or same thing with conversion rate. This is also by the way, if you're just starting out as an advertiser, your cost per click is always going to be much higher. It's probably not going to be higher than the Google Keyword Planner is telling you at the beginning, but it's going to be at the high end of the range until you prove to the system you have good conversion rates and good click-through rates as compared to your competition, and then it'll be closer to the low end of the range if you're doing better than everybody else in that auction showing up for the keywords you're currently bidding on, just so that you know. So that's the second main reason why and how your cost per click can be way higher than the Google Keyword Planner says. And the third main reason is Google simply got it wrong, okay? It's like I mentioned before, it's just a estimator, which if you're not sure still at the end of the day from this, you can always reach out to me at my site at guaranteedppc.com and I can have a conversation with you about it to tell you, give you a sanity check. I can tell you how much results I can bring for your campaigns along with it and while we're at it on Guarantee if you'd like. Also, if we've worked in your niche market, we could tell you what results we got in your niche market already. And then with that, we could sell you the templates that we use to generate those results as well, as we have been doing at our firm. Campaign templates, landing page templates, ad templates, all of it that you need to generate those results for yourself. We've worked in over 100 plus niche markets in the last 10 plus years at our firm. So the chances are good that we already got you the results you're looking for and you don't have to worry about half of the stuff here. We've got people that use these templates to start whole other businesses because they're set up so good. Setting up businesses to sell leads or to sell product when they're in service businesses before, but they wanted to sell an item like printer toner that our client sells, but sell it in a different country. That's all fair game to do. Anyway, if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at my site at guaranteedppc.com for that. But with that said, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section too, by the way. I always get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. Google getting it wrong though, this is kind of like rare. It'll be more accurate the higher the keyword volume you're talking about. If something says 10 clicks, in other words, it's be more likely to be off than if it says that keyword gets 5,000 clicks in the Google Keyword Planner. That said, even with the 10 click keywords, it's still fairly accurate. For the most part, you can rely on the high-end bid estimate on keywords basically 95% of the time. Once in a while, it actually be off, but it actually is pretty good. But it doesn't mean it should be treated like scripture here. Like this is the actual documented proof or whatever, because Google even says these are estimates, if you will. It's not exactly what you're going to pay. Of which, by the way, again, if you want to know how to get to the low end of that Google Keyword Planner bid range, it's all very easy to do. Setting up simple structures like single keyword ad group campaigns, understanding how to structure a landing page. I've got detailed videos on this channel about those exact topics. And if you want to get that in your market, there's no reason why you can't get it. It's just a matter of will you put the work in, because a lot of this comes down to just putting the work in as well. But you should definitely subscribe to this channel and watch my other videos if you want to have that and go on to make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business. If you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe now. If you're serious about making money with your ads, because the information you're going to get on this channel comes from myself with 20 years of advertising experience on Google as well as on Facebook and other platforms. I've got tons of experience. The information is coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm for the dozens of clients we have, which most of the people on YouTube and whatnot that gives you information about ad strategy aren't even running any ads, or they run a couple ads. With that said, also I got a great blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has actual step-by-step instructions of the strategies we're using at our firm to literally guarantee results for our clients. You like the channel, you're definitely going to like the information on my blog that I have for you as well. But beyond that, the main thing that's going to cause you, out of everything here, a cost per click higher than the high end of the range on the Google Keyword Planner for a keyword is not because the data was wrong, and not because the click-through rate or conversion rates were off, because you have to be like worse than everybody in your market in that case. And if you watch this channel and you actually give a little bit of care as to how you set up your ads and landing pages, you're probably not there. And it's probably smart bidding. Smart bidding is going to be 90% of the cause and 90% of the situations where you're paying more per click. But again, instead of getting your panties in a bunch over this, assume that cost per click really doesn't matter, because it doesn't. And you're going to try to get as many conversions at the cost per conversion you're looking for. When you want more conversions at the cost per conversion you're going for, you focus on higher click-through rates by having better ads or better targeted ads, meaning you have more unique ads for each term or each based upon male versus female, having a different ad for a female versus a male, which we do at our firm. We do stuff like that all the time, and making the landing page better and focus on that versus, oh, screw Google, the cost per click is too damn high. And because it's not going to get you anywhere anyway, and going to manual bidding and to lower your cost per click isn't going to make you more money. I know that for a fact. Every single campaign we run is using smart bidding because it makes more money than manual bidding. And I was one for manual bidding for a long time until I realized I cannot beat the smart bidding algorithms anymore because they're so good at understanding the likelihood of users buying and not buying, so that you aren't outbid for good people coming through, and you ultimately aren't paying too much for people that are trash prospects to go after. To finish off what I was saying here, if you don't know what to do, you can always reach out to me at my firm for a 30-minute coaching session as well. I can tell you why you're bottlenecked with your results right now. Is it your website, your pricing strategy? Is it your landing page? Is it your website as a whole? I can tell you in 30 minutes by asking you a few questions as to your business and give you with 95% certainty what your big bottleneck in your business is right now that's stopping you from getting to the next level in terms of revenue. And I can tell you that, and I can confidently say that because I've done this with several clients already since I've started up coaching at our firm to go with the done for you marketing services at our firm, and because I've worked with hundreds of companies over the last 10 years doing this exact thing. So if you want to know really what's going on in your business, you can also reach out to me and take me up on my new coaching service that I've been starting to provide to clients who, reach out to me and you guys watching this channel. But with that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said cost per click was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.